Hello and welcome to the Hogan's Alley Getting Started video. In this video we're going to cover the scenario player, the editor, and the options menu. We're going to start out by going through the scenario player. And this is where you would go through and find a scenario to train with. And you have two options, either online, which is where as people develop courses and share them, or we develop courses and share them, they will show up here in the list of courses. And you have local files. These are the ones that you either create and store locally, or the ones that are defaulted, or that you download from and save locally from the online file, if you find one on there that you like. So let's jump into local files. I should also mention that this video will have bookmarks along the bottom, the YouTube type bookmarks. So if you want to hover over the play bar and jump to a specific section, you can do that. Okay, so now we're in the course selection list, and you can go through here and hover on these if there are any screenshots to overview and get a quick glimpse of the course, or you can just select on one. So we'll just jump into this first one here and we'll click load. So you see that we have two options, auto run or manual. Auto run just means that once you've cleared all the targets associated with a stop, it'll automatically move you to the next stop. And manual means that you have to manually hit the space bar. So usually you would use a trainer that whenever you're ready to move forward, they can hit the space bar, or if you have an input device like a USB foot pedal that can activate hitting the space bar, or a future product that we haven't released yet, but we call it the move tracker, that will allow you to move from one location to the next, and that would indicate that you're ready to move on to the next stop. So that's manual mode and auto run mode. We'll stick to auto run mode for this tutorial. And then we have the scenario briefing. If it's got one, you can click on scenario briefing and it will go over and give you details about it, but there's not one with the scenario, so it's not going to display it. And let's just hit start and jump right in. So once you get on this screen, just shoot to start with the mouse and run through this course real quick, and I'll fast forward so you don't have to sit here while I run through the course. And then we'll pick back up at the after action review so I can walk through that with you. Okay, so now we've finished the course, and at the end we get our report with generalized data here, but we can also click on AAR and get an after action review with details. So we can step through our shots here. And then once we're done reviewing, we can click on, you see here, actually I should point out that we have shot times and split times here if that's important to you. But then once we're done reviewing the after action review, we can go to course selection, which just takes you back to course selection, or you can click back and that takes you just back to the general report screen, which again you can go to course selection from, or you can restart and rerun the exact same course again if you want to run it over again. So we'll click on course selection and back, get you out of this, and then back one more time, get you back to the main screen. So now we're going to go through the editor and how to create or edit an existing course or create a new one. Click on editor, and from in here we have three options. New, starting from scratch. Online file means I can pull down an online file and edit it to my liking. So if there's one that you like but you want to make some changes, you can pull it down locally and make changes to it, or you can open a local file and do the same thing. But we're going to go ahead and jump in with a new course here. And from here I have two options. I can either use a blank canvas, which we'll be using the room builder, so it's just a blank slate, and then you can use a room builder to design something that closely resembles your training area, or you can use a pre-made environment like we have here. And at this point, we're going to just use a pre-made environment, and I'll go through the basics with that. And then there'll be another section later in the video on the room builder. So we'll just go ahead and click on basement. It's best to use a keyboard and mouse, and particularly a mouse with a clickable scroll wheel, to navigate in the editor efficiently. So you can see the controls are down here if you need a refresher. But if I'm going to rotate, I'll just right mouse click and move, and that allows me to rotate around on the canvas. And if I want to move, I will click and drag using the scroll wheel. So I'll click on the scroll wheel and drag. So I can use a combination of this right mouse click and this drag to navigate around. And then I can zoom in and out with the scroll wheel. So using a combination of those, I can navigate myself around in the environment. So I like to start with laying down targets first, so I know what my path should be. But you can lay a path out first and then put targets. It's up to you. But you can see here that I have different things that I can throw in there. If I wanted to add an object, I can just drag it, set it here. And right now, if I want to move this, I'm going to use this square. I'm going to click and drag in that square. And again, if I click and drag in the square. If I want to rotate it, then I go up here and I change this. And I have 3 different rotational axes. I can grab the yellow one and just drag left and right, and that rotates it. If I wanted to tilt it, I can do it this way, or I can do it this way. So I have those 3 different axes to move any asset, whether it's a target, a chair, a desk, anything. And if I want to delete it, I just click on it to highlight it and click the delete button. All right, so that's the same thing for any of these objects. So let's go ahead and throw a target in here. So we have paper targets and we have avatars. So the paper targets, I can just drag one in here. And I have the ability to use any of the media manager targets. So if I want to change this target, I can just make sure it's selected and then go down here to choose target. And I could make this any of these that I wanted to. Say I want to throw this one in there. Just select it. And I'm going to add this to the threat pool. And then I'm going to go back. All right, so there's my character. You can get down here in eye level and you can see that he's there. And then a lot of these other options over here are going to be universal between the paper targets and the avatars. So I'll go ahead and drag an avatar over here as well, just so we can go through each. So the same thing here. Once I've got the avatar on here, I can go back to move and I can drag it around. I can click on this one, I can drag it around. I can do a 90-degree just by clicking on this. Or again, I can use my rotation. Same thing for I can drag it around, or I can rotate it. Again, I can also do 90 degrees by doing that. If I want to change the character, I just come down here and click on choose character. And then I could change the character if I wanted to. So those are the basic controls. If I wanted to put a body on the ground, I can drag that on there and do the same thing. I can choose the character. Okay, so now let's lay these out in a kind of a quick and dirty. For the sake of time, let's go here and add an avatar. So let's drop an avatar in the doorway up here. But let's hide them behind the wall here. And we'll go over here. So I can manipulate this around if I want to make sure it's all the way back there. And it doesn't matter that they're in the pipe, because all you're going to see them is stepping out. Once we move them, they're going to walk out here. So you can just step them off to the side here, or something like that. Doesn't really matter, but you can start them off here. And then I'm going to give them a path. So I want them to step over here to the door. So I'm just going to add. You can see I've got these footsteps that are attached to my mouse now. And I'm just going to click in the doorway. So now I have a path for them once they're activated. And this movement speed controls how fast they move to the next point. So if I had several points in a path, I could have him walk to one and then run to the next. So I'm going to have him kind of expediently move over into this point. And then we have the behavior tree, but to do that, you need to have a path set already with markers, with waypoints. So first thing we're going to do is just lay out a couple of targets, and then we'll do a path with waypoints, and then we can attach and give them behaviors. So let's drag another one over here, and we'll change that one. And we'll change this one. And then we'll throw one here. And you can see they're facing the wrong direction. So I'm just going to put them over here, and then I'm going to rotate them 90. And I will give them a path to the doorway. Now, something to note, you can see the footprints are facing to the right. I'm going to want to make sure I rotate those so that they're facing through the doorway. Otherwise, he'll be sideways when he gets to that point. And then again, I'm going to have him kind of stroll over there. And then that'll be the end of it. I could go through here and add a bunch more targets to this, but for now I'm just going to leave these in here. For the sake of this, it's the same principles, as many as you want to add in there. All right, so now I need to lay out my path, and this is the path the camera is going to take through the environment. So I'm going to go down and click on waypoints, and I'm going to drop a starting position. So let's say I want to start off to the left of the door. So now you can see my camera preview. I'm just staring at the wall, right? So let's say I want to rotate that so that I'm facing to the right. You can see my view has changed. And then I'm going to go in and record a path. So this is what you see is what you get breadcrumb path builder. So basically you're going to use the W, S, A, and D keys to navigate, and the mouse to navigate the path, and the exact way you do the path is the way it's going to take. All right, so let's jump into the record path. And this looks like it's got a lot of stuff going on here, but really all you need to pay attention to is that you're using the mouse to look left and right, while you're using a combination of the W, S, A, and D. W is forward, S is back, A is to the left, D is to the right. And I'll show you how that comes together right now. So I'm just going to hit the R key, as it's telling me down here at the bottom. That's going to start recording my path. All right, so I'm going to kind of use a combination of the D and W key while moving the mouse to the left so that I can see around the corner if I want to work pieing the corner. And then if I want to have this as my next waypoint, I'm going to hit the R key. Let's see, maybe I'll step through the door a little bit and then hit the R key. And now that's set a waypoint. You can see now I have waypoint 1. So start and then waypoint 1. And this is where I'm going to activate action from this avatar. So it's important, if you have a location that you want an avatar to respond to, you arriving at, that you hit the R key to stop recording. That automatically drops a waypoint. So now I've got my waypoint here, but I'm going to move on so that I can see my next point. So I'm going to hit R again, And then I'm going to start moving forward. Let's say I want to start moving over to the right. I'm going to use the D key while I'm still walking forward. And I'm going to use a combination of the D key and panning left to pie this corner. And now I'm using the A key while panning right with the mouse. And then I'm going to move in. Again, just using a combination of these buttons. And now I'm going to stop here as my next waypoint by hitting R. So now I've created waypoint 2. Now waypoint 1, and you can see my path going there. Start. I can click through those different waypoints. And now from here, this is where I'm going to activate this other target to come through. And this will be my final waypoint. I could hit R again and move through and create another waypoint. You can just keep going on, and you can be as complex as you want. And then I can exit this. And now I can see my path. So here's my start. Here's waypoint 1 in the door there. Here's waypoint 2. All right, you can see the targets. Now they say not assigned, right? Because they're not assigned to the waypoints. So that's our next thing we want to do. Is I have these 2 targets here behind the wall that I'm going to assign to waypoint 1. So what I'm going to do is click on waypoint 1, and then right down here in the bottom you can see assign targets and characters. So I'm going to click on that. Now I can't see those targets, but I can see up here I have a list of target 1, 2, and 3. If I had a bunch more targets, this might be harder to know which one's which, so you can click on X-ray, and now I can see through the wall, and I can see my 2 targets over there. So I'm going to click on 1, and that highlights it, and I can tell that's the right one, and I can click on 2, and I can see that it's highlighted, and I know it's the right one. So now I've got them both highlighted. I click on Add, and now I've attached them to the waypoint. You can see target 1 and 2 is assigned to this target, to this waypoint. If I wanted to, I could click on one and click Remove, and that would move it back over to the unselected targets. But now I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and click on Back. Now you can see I have 2 targets attached to this waypoint, designated by these 2 distance red lines. So now what I'm going to do is, and you can go through and attach all the targets to the waypoints if you wanted to first. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick. So I've clicked on waypoint 2, and now I'm going to click on the targets. I only have 1 left. I'm going to click on it and add, and then click back. Okay, now all my targets are attached to waypoints. It's important to note that if a target is not attached to a waypoint, then it can't be controlled by arriving at a waypoint, if that makes sense. So you want all your targets attached to at least to a waypoint before you save, or before you're done with your course. You can save at any time. So now I'm going to add some animations to these characters. So I'm going to go over here and select my first character. So what I'm going to do is have this guy be the first person I see when I get to my first waypoint, to waypoint 1. So now I've got him highlighted, and now I'm going to come over to my behavior tree. So I click on that, and these are just action nodes. So right now I have start and path point 1, which is that first path point that he moves to. But he's not activated by anything. He'll just activate when the course starts. So I'm going to right click and then click on nodes, and then I'm going to click on trigger. All right, so I'm going to scroll in here so you can see it. When player reaches waypoint, I'm just going to drag this over here. I want to put this in between these 2. So I'm just going to click here and drag, and that's going to break that connection, and then I'm going to let go, and that makes a new connection. And then I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to left click, drag, and release. So now I have scenario starts when the player, that's us, when we reach waypoint 1, it's going to tell our character to run to path point 1. Now what do we want him to do when he gets to path point 1? So I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to give him an action. You could also put a wait. So let's say when I reach waypoint 1, I want it to wait 2 seconds before he runs out. So I could add a wait. So trigger when I reach waypoint 1. Let's add it here. Let's make this 2 seconds. And then I need to add it to the sequence. So again, I'm just breaking that connection and then adding in this node. So now scenario starts. We reach waypoint 1, and then it waits 2 seconds, and then it moves to the path point. So it moves to the doorway. And now we're going to add an action. All right, so now I have these different options here. You can also see the different non-threats over here. They do the same thing. You can either do it over here, or you can do it in the drop-down. So I'm just going to use the drop-down, and I'm going to say drawing gun and shoot. So that's the animation. So now I need to connect this. So when it reaches path point 1, they're going to draw the gun and shoot. Now I can also add a random. So if I put a random node here, I'll go ahead and connect it to that. I can also do another action. And this one, let's do a false give up. So now I connect that. So now, when they get to waypoint 1, it's going to randomly select between just drawing the gun and shooting, or it's going to do the false give up action, which is where it does just that. It looks like they're giving up, and then they go ahead and draw the gun on you. All right, so that's done. I could add in, let's see, let's talk about enable weapon. So if I wanted to have the gun already drawn and in their hands when they walk out to that path, then I could add this in somewhere up here so that it basically already enables the weapon. So right now I have pistol or knife, and puts it in their hand. That way when they walk into the scene, they already have a gun in their hand. But in this instance, and if I do that, then I would want to just go to shoot, because I don't need it to draw the gun, because they already have the gun in their hand, right? So just little subtle nuances like that when you're combining these different animations. But I'm just going to select this and delete it, and that's it. I've got my tree built here, my behavior tree. So now I'm going to back up. Okay, now let's give our other character an animation. So right now he's hiding behind the wall, and I need to give him a path. So I'm going to put him right here as well, where he steps into the doorway. Then I'm going to select the character again. So I'm not just selecting, I need to be selected on the character and not the path. So I'm making sure I'm selected to the character. You can see there, I'd accidentally actually selected the waypoint because I was clicking through the waypoint space here. So you just have to make sure you're actually selecting the player. All right, so I've got them selected, and now I'm going to go in the behavior tree, and I had already added this a minute ago. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. When the player reaches the waypoint, I'm going to have him run to the path point 1, and I'm not going to put any weight here. But when it gets to the path point, I'm going to give it the action of hands up. Actually, we'll give them the don't shoot animation. All right, and then I'm going to select this wait for completion. That just means that it won't move on until the animation is completed. So I'm actually going to have him run out past me. So I need to go back and add another point here. Make sure I've got these kind of stacked, so I got to make sure I'm grabbing the right one. There we go. This is the right one. So I'm going to add another path point here. Just going to have him run out the door past me. So I'll actually have him kind of run off to the side here. And then I'll add one more out the door. That way he'll put his hands up, like don't shoot, and then like I'm commanding him to run out, or if he's scared, he's running out past me. Let's see, let me go back to him, to his behavior tree. Yeah, so now scenario starts, we reach waypoint 1, he runs to path 1, throws up his hands, like don't shoot, and then after the animation's done, he'll run past me, basically. So I'm actually going to go back into this one and give it about a 3-second delay, just to give that other character enough time to run out and do the animation and then run away, and then have this other one pop up. Okay, done. So now let's run over here and add an action for this character. So let's add the behavior. And on this one, we're going to trigger on waypoint reaching the waypoint. Actually, on this one, we'll go ahead and have the gun drawn. So I'm going to go ahead and enable weapon. So when they come out, they're already going to have the pistol in their hand. There we go. So once they reach the waypoint, I need to give them an action. And the gun's already drawn, so I'm just going to do a shoot. So very straightforward. Scenario starts. They pull the pistol and they're standing there with their hand, hiding behind the corner. When I get to waypoint 2, it activates. And it's whatever waypoint that they're attached to. So you don't have to designate waypoint 1 or 2. It's just the attached waypoint. When they reach that waypoint, then they'll walk to path point 1, and then they will shoot. Pretty straightforward. So now I've got it all done here, and I'm going to click on File and Save. And let's give it a name. And enter your designer name if you desire. And you can local save this, or you can export it as a file if you're going to share it with another system, or you can share it with the online community. If you share it with the online community, everybody who has Hogan's Alley can see it, just so you know that. Then you can also create a scenario briefing. So if you wanted to add in some information that they could review, then you can enter all that in here. So I'm going to go ahead and local save this. And it's saved. And now I can exit. So I'm going to go back to the main menu. That's how you exit. And I've already saved it, so I can just click no. Clicking yes would be fine as well. All right, that takes me back here. Now I'm going to jump into the player local file. And there's my course, Demo 1. So I could click on load and run through and train on the course that I just built. So let's go ahead and back out of here. Okay, now let's go back into the editor and go over the room builder section. So we'll hop back in the editor and we'll go to new and we'll click on blank canvas. All right, and as you can see, we have a blank canvas. So the first thing we're going to do is build some rooms. So we're going to click on Room Builder to enable that functionality. And I'm going to click on Create Room. And then you can see my grid here. I can right click and drag if I want to rotate it to be more squared on to me. And I'm just going to drag out a realistic size room here. And I'm using the scroll wheel to zoom out. and pressing on the scroll wheel to grab and drag the canvas, just like before. Okay, so I have a basic room here, but I don't have any doors or windows or anything. Let's build this out a little bit further. Let's say I want an L-shaped return on this room here. I can click on Create Adjoining Room, and then I'm going to click on the corner here and drag over here, and there I go. Now I've got an L shape to the room. And then let's say this is an office here, and then I'm going to exit out of the adjoining room and click back into create room. Let's say this face here, I want this to be a hallway leading to it. I'm going to put a door here. So I'll click and drag, left mouse click and drag. Let's say about a 10-foot wide. We'll make it 15-foot wide. Hallway. And there I go. Now I've got a hallway where this could be my entrance into the building. Work my way down the hallway, and then I can put a door here into this. I can throw another room here with a door, another room here. I can just keep building onto this. Let's say I want to have this hallway have a right turn here. Click on Create Adjoining again. Just going to left mouse click and drag. And now I've got a corner in my hallway. Okay, so now I'm going to exit out of the adjoining room, and now I'm going to add some doors in here. So I'm going to click on Add Doors. You can also go down here and click on Doors here as well, get to the same thing. I'm going to add my entrance door here. So let's throw this door here. So I'm just going to click to select it. Now it snaps to the surface, and then I left mouse click to place it. So now I have my door. If I circle around here, you'll see the door on the other side as well. Now let's throw a door into this room here. So again, I'm going to, let's go with this door here. Click and drag, and we'll put it in the corner here. Okay, now I've got my doors, so that way I can start this out, enter in through this door, work my way down the hallway, and then into this room, let's say for my scenario. And now let's say I want to add some other stuff here. I could throw in some lights. So if I want to light this room, I'm just clicking and placing. And maybe I leave this corner dark over here, and then light up the hallway. Do this to make sure I'm relatively straight on that, which I am. We'll do 3 lights here. Now let's say I want to reposition a light, then I actually need to get out of the room builder to do any of that kind of stuff. So I'm done building my rooms per se, and now I'm just going to be adding furniture or props or lights or things like that. So I can actually exit the room builder at this point. And this gives me all the functionality I need to manipulate these other items. So if I click on a light here, I can actually drag and move these. All right. So if I wanted to manipulate one of the objects, or like the light or a door or something, I would just click on it. And I can also find it here if I want to click through this list. So I could click on here and highlight it and then delete it. So let's say I wanted to get rid of this light here. I can just click on it to highlight it and then click delete. And now that light is gone. Let's see here. I want to throw that light back in there, so I'll put it back in there. Same thing if I want to move a light, I click on it and then click on reposition. And now it's stuck to my cursor again, and I can drop it just like I did the first time. You can change the brightness on the light. You know, different objects have different capabilities over here. Okay, so let's say I want to put some features in here like carpet and walls, like paint. So I can go to materials, and let's do the walls, and let's just go with something like this. And I'm highlighting a room, clicking it, highlighting a room, clicking it, and so on. That way I can do different ones for different rooms if I wanted to. And then I'm going to go to the floor, and let's throw some carpet in there. Same thing. Boom, now I got some carpet in there. And there's some other customizability you can do over here. Okay, that's all done. I'm going to exit the room builder, and now you can see I have all these other options. So let's say I want to make this more like an office building. So maybe in this main hallway here, I throw some cabinets here, and I'm going to rotate that. Let's throw it here against this wall. And I'll throw in some bookshelves. Next to it, just some stuff like that. I can throw some chairs. Let's see, let's go into office here. Throw some filing cabinets out in there. And I'm just clicking and dragging. Okay. And then, oh, I forgot to mention, you can click on grid snap, and you can see it snaps to the walls and stuff, so I don't have to worry about it so much. So I can do the same thing here. Grid snap. Okay, so I've got a few items in here, so I can kind of feel like this is in an office building. Maybe I'll throw a waste basket in here. You can get as detailed as you want. You can see the idea there. Then I'm going to go in here and maybe throw some desks in here. Some chairs. Maybe I'll leave this one facing that way. Throw a filing cabinet against the wall here. Again, you can get as detailed as you want on this, or as simple as you want. I'm just going to throw some things in here so you get an idea of the different things that you can do. And this is just individual stuff, but you can click on here to see all of them. We have different ones for different environments. So for church, you have a pew and PA speaker, piano, different things like that, versus a retirement home, objects you might find there. Okay, so that's the basics about Room Builder. I believe that'll conclude our getting started functionality video here. And if you have any questions about any of this, please don't hesitate to give us a call, and we'd be happy to help clarify anything you're having troubles with or any questions you might have. Thank you very much.